Yeah, I mean, I just think, too, just the explosion in hate crimes against Asian Americans that we've seen over the last 2 years, all fueled by GOP rhetoric. And we think about, that segment that you just had about people's lives really being threatened, that people who ran unsuccessfully won't accept the truth and then literally put a target on the backs of their opponents. I think to just the other day when Congressman Eric Swalwell released a voicemail that he had received threatening the lives of him, his family, his kids. And then you look at what Republicans just did today, appointing 12, 13, 14 members to the House Oversight Committee who were election deniers. I just reviewed a report that was just released by the Congressional Integrity Project articulating all of the election deniers that have just been appointed to this committee. And it's so dangerous, Joy, because all this does is legitimize those conspiracy theories. All it does is tell these people, the radical actors who take and treat these members' words and rhetoric like the Bible and act them, it legitimizes them. It tells them that they are right to feel how they feel, that it is right for them to act on these crazy conspiracy theories. And the more that Republicans in leadership, like Kevin McCarthy, legitimize those dangerous conspiracy theories, the more violence we're going to have, the more threats we're going to have, the more bloodshed we're going to have. And let's just be very clear, when that happens, and it will continue to, the blood is on the hands of the Republicans who we know better.
Yeah. I mean, Kevin McCarthy, one might say he sold his soul for that gavel because he is, let's look at this Congress. The Republicans who support overturning the election in the 117th Congress, there were 139 of them. Now there are 136 of them. There are 8 in the Senate right now. There are 13 in the Senate right now. And you're absolutely right. Paul Gosar, whose own family rejects everything about him in terms of his attitudes on race. Marjorie Taylor Greene, Andrew Clyde, these people who have already shown a penchant for insurrection, they're getting committee assignments, David. But I want you to talk just a little bit more, to zoom back a little bit, because the way that these guys are running for office is to show themselves armed to the teeth, to show you and let you know before the election even happens. Let me just let you know I'm armed. My whole family is armed. Let me show you this Christmas card with all of us with guns. To me, the implication is I'm basically a warlord. And if I'll either get elected or I'll get power anyway because I got these guns.
Yeah, so many serious threads in this story, and I'm glad you're treating it as such. I mean, take just the issue of gun violence and the celebration of the use of high-capacity weapons as a part of Republican messaging. That in and of itself is dangerous. And then you have the lies and this notion that the government's coming for your place in society. Well, if government's coming to take something from you, then you have a right to protect yourself. And those threads kind of merge together. And I think that the dangerous thing, probably the most dangerous piece of this, is who among today's Republican leadership is going to lead the party out of it? Because actually what we see is everybody fall into it. Kevin McCarthy, arguably 6 or 8 years ago, would have been the more rational speaker that would have been able to keep all this at bay. Instead, he fell right into it. Even the voices of Mitch McConnell and others are ineffective in pushing back. So the next generation of Republican leaders will be elevating and celebrating this. And I hate to get kind of overtly partisan here, but that is the importance of the coalition that Democrats have built in the last 6 years, of Democrats, independents, and disaffected Republicans who say there's this movement in today's American politics that is dangerous and worrisome. And so whether we are Democrats or independents or disaffected Republicans, we have to step in and put a stop to it. That's the importance of what Democrats are leading in this moment in history right now.
Well, I think it's important that I'm sitting here with 2 former Republicans, right?
Yeah,
people who were partisan at one time in that party. Mm-hmm. But you're right, David. We now have a coalition, and there are really sort of 2 sides in American politics. There are those who think that you shouldn't use violence to solve the problem of losing, right? That violence shouldn't have anything to do with politics. And there's another side that says, well, maybe it's okay if we lose, maybe we should storm the Capitol. Maybe we should hunt Pelosi. Maybe we should just hunt them down if they won't let us have power. If they vote wrong, we'll just shut them out of the ballot. And Kurt, do you think that there is someone in the Republican Party who does have the stature to do it? Because people like Adam Kinzinger and others are being chased out. There are Republicans who are saying they were afraid to vote for impeachment because they thought that their own base would kill them. They're afraid of their own base. Is there somebody that's not afraid of the very heavily armed Republican base, part of it, to say something or do something about it.
Yeah, and I think that's really kind of the sad thing at this point, Joy, is that there isn't anyone that has the stature and the ability to successfully lead the Republican Party out of this extreme wilderness. We've seen the folks like Kingsner and Liz Cheney. Guess what? They're not in Congress anymore. Every time that at least one or two of them try, they get ran out of town, ran out of their own party, ran out of their own leadership. In the case of Liz Cheney, I mean, Kevin McCarthy was caught on audio, for crying out loud, agreeing with Liz Cheney about Donald Trump's culpability in January 6th. And a few weeks later, what was Kevin doing? He was hightailing to Mar-a-Lago, sucking up to Donald Trump, and throwing Liz Cheney under the bus. There is no, there's only cowardice right now in the Republican hierarchy. And as long as that's the case, and that seems to be the case after what we've seen from Kevin McCarthy, they're just going to keep going to the extreme. And that's the scary thing here. After an election in which they just woefully underperformed, in which a lot of their extremist candidates that ran for Senate, Governor, Secretary of State lost, the calculation they have made is, you know what? We're going to make Marjorie Taylor Greene the face of the party. We're going to make Lauren Boebert the face of the party. We're going to make Scott Perry the face of the party. In fact, we're going to put them on the Oversight Committee, where they're going to be center stage when these hearings are broadcast wall to wall on every news network. They're going to make them even more influential, more important. That's the lesson that they learned from almost losing the midterm elections entirely.
Yeah. And the problem is, they can't win a majority in the country, and they certainly can't win the White House this way. And it's a vicious cycle, because then when they lose, because the majority of American voters go, whoa, nah, that's too crazy for me, then they cycle it back again and say, nope, we didn't really lose. It was also fraud. And it's just, we're right back where we started. David Jolly and Kurt Bardella, thank you, friends. Really appreciate you.